Hello everyone, this is Mini Ninjas. Pardon the belated nature of this video, but only now have I really got a chance to talk about some of the pickups that I had at the latest Waterloo Video Game Swap, which took place on September 25th over at Rim Park. Suffice to say, I did manage to get quite a few games this time around, so while I'm voicing over myself in this case, let's take a quick look at some of the stuff that I picked up. As I've mentioned before, I like buying my import games for a lot of different reasons there. Not only are they tend to be a lot cheaper than their North American counterparts, but they're also a lot of games that just didn't come over here. And at this particular swap, I did actually visit a pair of booths at least. Inferno Cat Games and Retrotraw Games, pardon if I got the names wrong guys, that were not only selling them for very cheap in general, but even cheaper than expected because some of them were actually having basically fire sales there. So I was able to pick up a lot of quality titles like Super Bomberman 2, which the North American game definitely costs more than what I paid for this one, and a number of kind of specialty fighting games and some platformers that they do have North American equivalents, but considering I think I paid for some of these games like Gradius there and Super Bomberman, I think I maybe paid a $5 if not less in some of these cases, or like in the Yu Yu Hakusho games, these two different fighting games side by side out here, I paid $5 or less for each one, so generally speaking, I was able to come back with a lot more than I was expecting this time for a lot less than what I was originally planning on paying for some of this stuff, so I'm not going to argue here. And let's see, I believe the two fighting games are like a couple of sets here. The next two games here are two different Capcom Disney titles, which generally are very high quality. I think they do have North American equivalents. Now the second one is Great Circus Mystery, for instance. And there's a third one that's a Super Famicom exclusive. Unfortunately, I couldn't find on this particular day. But great titles. And I paid relatively dirt cheap for them, so I have no problem with this. This is an excellent turnout here, and I'm going to be enjoying these games since they're honestly not too text heavy. Last game in the shot here is Ryuko no Ken 2, aka Art of Fighting 2, and I'm pretty sure I paid for this one less than $5 as well. Basically, if you're getting Super Famicom stuff, with the exception of a few titles, you can't go wrong. Here is the second table worth of stuff that are just Super Famicom carts on their own here. Starting off, we have like a few different things like Super Valis there in the top corner there. It's a nice little platforming title. Haven't had the chance to play too much of it yet. You have stuff like Battle Master, which apparently is a fighting game. Admittedly, prior to this setup, I hadn't even heard of this game before. You see a few more recognizable names like Darius Twin there, Super R-Type in the corner, Fire Emblem, Disney's Aladdin. It doesn't matter if you prefer the Super Nintendo or Genesis one. Both are solid games, and considering that this cart is a little beat up there, I paid even less than I expected. So hey, as long as you're not too picky about the collection, you can pick up some stuff from the Super Famicom collection even cheaper than expected. On the other hand, right beside it is Super R-Type, which is a really clean cart to be honest there. Maybe could use a little distance spot, but otherwise great. Fire Emblem here is admittedly a game I'm not sure why I picked up. I know it's a classic title, but it's so text heavy that it's going to be hard to play that one. And you can see on the bottom row here things like Super Street Fighter 2 and Samurai Spirits, aka Samurai Showdown. Just generally classic fighting games there. Even if I have copies of these games already, you still can't go wrong, and all else fails, I'll find someone I know that kind of plays this stuff or collects this stuff, and I'll probably just give it to them. I know that these are classic enough titles, especially the first one is a really nice Super Nintendo or Super Famicom port, so they'll enjoy it, I imagine. Moving on to the box Super Famicom games. First game in that photo is actually Bisoujo Sensei Sailor Moon, which is the predecessor to the beat 'em up you saw earlier in the same video here and covers the first arc here. The game beside it is Yu Yu Hakusho 2. Is actually the second of a series of fighting games that I've also shown multiple games of in this video. And last one is a copy of Tiny Toon Adventures Buster Bust Loose. I think I paid $10 or less for most of these. So generally, pretty nice for the price. From the same vendor, I believe, I also got 4 more games. Super Donkey Kong 3, which is aka Donkey Kong Country 3. Box complete copies of Street Fighter 2 and Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Box is a little dent up, but still pretty nice. And F-Zero there is actually just the cart in the box itself there. But I paid $5, which I think would have been more than fair for just the game itself. So I think I still made out ahead in the general deal. This table's funny for a few different reasons. First one, you have 3 different Kirby games on there. Kirby's Adventure for the NES, as well as Hoshi no Kirby 1 and 2 for the Game Boy on there. Puyo Pop 2 also makes an appearance for the Game Boy, as well as yet another Samurai Spirits port, this time for the Game Boy, as you can see here. And if you're wondering what Darius Twin for the Super Nintendo was doing there, This is actually a copy I purchased earlier in the day, like one of my first purchases, which I forgot I had purchased by the time I got to the Super Famicom carts. So yeah, I did pick up 2 of the same game at the same event. Go figure. For the last bunch of games here, we start off with a 360 copy of BlazBlue Continuous Shift Extend, which is funny because I forgot I actually owned a copy of this before, so technically this one's a moot point. But at least I did get 3 new Saturn games, starting with the Dark Savior, which I believe is a isometric platform of some sort. Next game there is Nights into Dreams, which needs no introduction there. And last but not least, we have a strategy RPG game of all things, Bomberman Wars. All in all, really nice event, came back with a lot of fun stuff here. I had the chance to run into a few familiar faces like Canadian Retro, Adam Korlick, and Scott Small, which is always good times there. And in case you're wondering why it took me so long to do this, let's just say I'm also working on another video right now, because something I got on Monday, and this one's going to be a little more in depth, which is what's been taking me so long. But we'll talk about that another time. Thanks for watching this video, and catch you all later.